All right, and we are now live. Hi, I am Kira858, and today we're here for episode 18 of Rivenwood Academy. Of course, here at the Cookout, we always like to give love and support to different individuals in the community, especially during current times that's going on. Of course, with the 1 day off Twitch, the hate raids and stuff like that. This is now more than ever where we need to send out support different individuals in the community and help prepare for things to come. So, of course, we would like to start off with our good friends, the Bear Pen. He is, of course, run by Adrian B, who is on our Lords of Faerun campaign. Comes in on Saturdays. He has multiple shows starting. Two of them actually just recently completed. I think Maycon Blue, which I was just in, and Blood of the Bayou, which was their Vampire the Masquerade series. We just finished actually filming epilogues who feature individuals such as Melee Damage, Cynthia Marie, a couple of individuals here actually in the cast, and so forth. So you'll be able to check out their content either on their Patreon, on their YouTube, I think in about a month or so. But if you can, definitely go ahead and follow the Bear Pen. That is the Bear Pen ending with the H, and help support Adrian on their endeavors. Second, we would always love to give a huge shout out for is Hutter's Entertainment. Hutter's Entertainment is a variety TTRPG channel that actually leans towards horror and sci-fi based content. You will definitely see well-known names such as, again, Melee Damage, Michelle Nyang, Markia Bacardi, who actually I think just also both of them actually just finished a birthday. I remember because of Virgos, and they are a fantastic TTRPG content. They, like I said, they also do sci-fi such as Carbon. I think the Netflix show, I forgot what the actual name of it was. And they have one of the individuals, the tech producer, known as Alex Red Eye. Regularly, not only is on the Bear Pens channel, but regularly sends raids down here for Rivenwood Academy. So if you can, definitely go ahead and give Hutter's Entertainment a follow and support them on their endeavors. And last but certainly not least, I always got to give a huge shout out for, of course, is a TTRPG show called Kids on Bike that features, it's on Pixel Circus, which features a variety of different cast members, primarily POC, including Sharif for Rivals of Waterdeep. You'll see Hello There Hugh, Noir or Enigma, and a couple other individuals. Oh, Marquita's also on that show as well. It's a fantastic show. I think they are leaning towards the end of their season 2. But nevertheless, it's always been a fantastic show. They start off with Roll20 and transitioned over to a Pixel Circus. And we were definitely hoping that season 3 would definitely come in. So if you can, definitely check out their show. It starts every Thursday at 8 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And like I said, definitely go ahead and give that channel a follow and support them on their endeavors. So those are the shout outs that we have for today. In terms of announcements, nothing too much coming up. Well, there's a few things coming up in the near future, that's for sure. However, those are still will be announced. I'll just say keep an eye out on our Twitter. You can follow me on the Kira858, or you can join our Discord, which we listed in chat below. And on our Discord, we definitely will be announcing when we have some shows coming out. I would just say this: we have at least 2 to 3 new shows coming out in the near future, most likely 3. And so again, super excited for it. I cannot wait to announce those shows. So you definitely keep an eye out for that. You should be hearing word about all 3 of those shows within the next couple weeks. And with that said, I think those are all of the announcements that we have for today. So we're going to go ahead and dive right in and bring you our intro video for episode 18 of Rivenwood Academy.
Micah, Ardris, Meaty, Kelwin, Otis, The spellbinding abilities of Rivenwood Academy.
All right, and we are back. And so with that said, Aaron, take it away.
All right, this week is going to be more theater of the mind than usual since I'm not having my video on today. It's going to be very podcasty, I think, but I'm looking forward to a lot of fun because last we heard Pyrea was inviting Kellen and thus the rest of the party to the after semester beach party off down the coast from where Rivenwood Academy is. We do have a couple small housekeeping stuff to get ahead of. You, Otis and Miri, you haven't really had a chance to talk to Drogon because it's been a busy couple of weeks as the semester ended. Everyone was working on their final projects. When he realized that Otis was not literally dying, it became less important for him to have that conversation immediately. So he has said, hey, I'm so sorry I'm busy, but after everything's wrapped up, we'll meet and we'll talk about everything. So that is on the plate for the future, not something that has already happened.
Huh?
Similarly, Ardris, the archivist Stefania, has been super busy this last week, helping students with their kind of getting ready for your finals, cramming, whatever. So she has similarly postponed the last couple of meetings to say, hey, after we're finished with the whole semester, you have 2 weeks, you can come hang out with me more frequently. In fact, we can kind of get down and deep into this, and has plans that the Chancellor will meet you at some point to talk more in detail. Any other business people would like to wrap up as we finish the semester? Everyone is now level 6. You got your awesome enchanted items. You finished all of your classes. Anything we need to do before we cut over to this beach scene?
So just to clarify, because Michael was able to squeak through a request with the communication professor to go see the diviner.
Eileen.
Eileen, yes. Is that going to be happening during this time, or is that going to be happening afterwards?
After. So he said during the term break. So literally right now you have just finished the semester. So the last day of classes, you're going into the next day is like an all-day party on the beach, basically.
Yeah.
Everyone's celebrating that they're done. And then you're going to have an amount of time in between semesters that you can kind of do what you want.
Gotcha. Okay, thanks.
Does Otis make up with Azareth? She's still keeping her distance.
I think roll me an animal handling check.
Ooh, okay. First roll of the night.
First flashback.
Oh my goodness, you gotta be joking.
That sounds like a bad one.
No, it's a natural 3 though, so that's 12 total.
Closer and closer. It's not what your relationship used to be. Like, she's not up on your shoulder a lot, but she is flying closer and closer, perching closer and closer to where you are. It started showing back up in your dorm room at night. So
that's good.
It is slowly mending. It's not like she's not mad at you or something. It's just kind of a sense of self-preservation that animals have, in which something scary happened that reminded her of something scary that happened before.
Oh yeah.
And so it needs a little bit of time to work through that, as do we all, I think, because we got lots of nightmares and other things in the background that people, I think, are working through. Anything else?
That's good for me.
Awesome. All right, so you have finished your final day of classes, gotten all of those bonuses. You've gotten stopped by a couple of professors who have talked about hey, good job, I'm proud of you. You've survived your first one. A couple have stopped you and been like, you're going to take my class next semester, right? Like trying to hype you up for these different classes that are involved. And it is, you go to bed, you have a good night's rest. Those of you who were exhausted from your nightmares before, you are no longer exhausted. And it is the morning of the beach episode.
Woo!
as you wake up, there is a mood. The vibe in the academy is way different than it has been for the last 3 months, as people are ready to partay. Already, when you wake up at 6, 7 in the morning, people are already starting to drag stuff down to the beach. They're setting up different areas to make barbecues. They're trying to get some areas roped out for beach games, kind of combing to get out debris and stuff. So it is up to you how you want to start your beach morning and go through this first part of the day.
Well, Otis is going to go and try to see Drogon as soon as possible.
You can certainly try and go find him if you'd like.
Yeah, he will try.
Archers is dressing in his fanciest summer clothes. He's ready to go out and see the people.
I'm not going to lie, I pictured a really nice yellow sundress.
More of a robe than a dress, but it's just simple.
Big sun hat.
It is slightly less stuffy and warm than your other robes. It's not a human would be like, this sucks. But you're fine with it.
So I think Micah's a bit confused because this is his first party outing. I don't think he really knows what to do much. So he's probably just going to bring his manuscript that he received from his mother, which of course we all know is I can't say it. Maybe I can say it. This world's version of Harry Potter, you know what I mean? But I'm just saying, he's of course super excited about that book. And so I think he's kind of clutching it to his chest as he walks out. But I don't think he's really dressed any different because he doesn't really know what to do at the beach.
Are you meeting with the party somewhere on campus, or are you wandering your way down to the beach?
Oh, well, no, he's definitely going to the party because this is definitely somewhere outside of his area of expertise. So he doesn't he's just kind of following suit, to see what everyone else do. But yeah, he's definitely following the party.
Awesome,
Mm-hmm.
awesome. Otis, as you are getting ready, you head over to the groundskeeper's hut as people are going to breakfast. You do see Elliot is there, just finishing up his breakfast, and he offers you, he's like, Otis.
Hey,
How are you? How are you?
I'm good. I made it through exams.
Yeah, congratulations. Did you want some breakfast?
Well, I'm not going to deny it if you offer it.
And he does. It is this homemade porridge. That has a very interesting texture because it's a savory porridge, which you were maybe not used to. So it's really quite nice, but a little bit different.
It's different, but I ain't complaining.
I'm glad that you like it.
So I know you probably talked to Drogon, but am I dying?
Well, I'm obviously not a health professional, but just given the circumstances, I'm going to guess that you're not dying.
What's wrong with me?
Well, I can't tell you. Because only you can know in this particular circumstance. So, I mean, do you feel injured?
Well, Eldest is going to pat himself up. Well, not really.
Yeah. It's also what I'm thinking. So you're probably just, not to generalize too much, but at your age, lots of emotions, lots of thoughts, lots of changes. Sometimes you get achy or feel weird.
Okay. I don't think I slept wrong.
That's good. Can narrow some stuff down then.
Elliot, I just don't understand. You seem to understand. The tree never told me about this.
That is surprise me though. That's not surprising at all. Basically, I'm saying think about how you relate to others.
Okay, I do what I want.
It's not always what we want to do though, right?
I guess so.
Sometimes we want to do what other people want because we are wanting to impress them or to curry their favor or get them to notice us.
Or get some free food.
Or come get some free food for breakfast. I'm sure you'll figure it out. It'll be fine.
Okay. Well, if you see Drogon, tell him I guess I'm alive, so don't worry about it. And,
he has been checking up on you. Don't worry about that. He knows that you are alive.
And Otis, I guess, would probably see the flower pot for the first time.
Probably see what?
The flower pot with the eye stalks in it.
Oh yeah, that is there by the door. It has been moved a little bit a ways from the cabin just because it smells like that. But like, yeah, it's become more soup really at this point because it's like it's really gross.
Would Otis recognize it? I assume he would recognize it because he wasn't there when Miri dropped it off.
I mean, why not? I'll say you do. I mean, you probably recognize the smell. I don't know that you could recognize the shape of it anymore, but you probably recognize the smell.
Oh yeah, he's got keen perception. He recognizes it. Okay. So he'd be like, hey, that's one of them things from them dead floating eyeball things.
Yeah, I've been meaning to ask you about that because, well, honestly, I don't want to talk about it today. It's beach day. We're going to have a lot of fun, but you really should be talking to people about that, right?
I mean, I guess so. I didn't know we had to. I didn't know it was important like that.
It feels a little bit important, I think. Just my take on it. I'm no wizard though, so what do I know?
Well, if you say so, you've been right so far, Elliot. I might as well give it a try.
Right. Well, I mean, on the morrow. We can
I do it when I want.
Yes, and I provide you breakfast when I want, and you say, thank you, Elliot. I appreciate you greatly.
Thank you, Elliot. I appreciate you, whatever. All right, bye.
Bye, Otis. So he seems completely unfazed. Like every time you kind of like push up a little bit, he has no like pushback to it. He's just like, yeah, okay. This is who you are. He accepts it exactly as you are. So you have this little conversation. You can see, I know, Elliot is, if I could get an accent for Elliot, they'd be a power couple, but I can't. So, as you move away, you can see people are getting up from their breakfast. Some people are pulling down like wax-covered cloth that is made into like a tarp so that they can make like little kind of tents and stuff in case it does start raining later in the day. Although right now you look up and it is clear blue sky. It's really, really nice. But yeah, people are starting to move that away. For the rest of the party, I imagine you ate breakfast. What's the next part of your plan?
Helen skipped breakfast.
Oh
No.
He's going to be doing something else during that time.
Oh, don't you dare, dog. Don't you go for the research, dog.
Audrey is eating in his very fancy clothes and talking to people. Enjoying the time. Networking, so to speak.
Ooh, roll me a flat charisma check.
Nice.
Oh, well, that's a 4. Plus,
Oh no.
plus 5, 9 total.
Ooh, that's way better than it should have been for a 4.
You have a +5 for charisma?
Oh, is it charisma or persuasion? If it's a charisma, then it's 6. If it's
it has a very like how are you doing fellow kids vibe to it. You've shown up in like far too formal clothes thinking that it looks hip and trendy and you're like, hey, we're all going to go to this beach, right? And everyone's just gonna like, yeah, sure, we're all
Hello, children. I'm also ready for the festivities today.
Hath we all completed our courses? Wow. Yeah.
I
Hoorah.
imagine he just like launches into a rant about like elvish politics at some point for like no reason.
Yeah,
Thought this was entertaining for children.
Oh, don't be that guy, Art. Just don't be that guy.
It's like from 100-year-old elf noble. Like, of course, everyone thinks that talking about the most recent rumors amongst the houses is the most fun thing to do at a beach party. Well, but
absolutely. This is definitely happening. I imagine like you tried to strike up a few conversations over breakfast, and like people have started to walk away from you, and you haven't picked up that cue. So you've been sort of following them as you kept talking about the minutia of elven politics. So like you're heading towards the beach, not necessarily on purpose, just because people keep trying to flee from you, and you are just keeping pace with them.
That's what I'm saying. This is as accurate to real life as possible. This is
Miri, what about you? Did you get breakfast?
She would have. However, if anybody had seen her, I think she is dressed up in like a kilo sundress, big sun hat, and the equivalent of big round sunglasses.
There are, just for you, there are absolutely smoked glass sunglasses you can get that are obnoxious looking. I love it so much.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're round, right? They have to be round.
They're perfectly circular, is what they are, and oversized.
Let's go.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love that mental image of Miri's outfit. Shai, was there anything you needed to do at breakfast?
No, she'll just probably be carrying a bag full of beach stuff, beach balls, etc., etc.
I can't wait to see how this goes. Awesome. So slowly, as you all kind of finish up your conversations or don't finish up your conversations, in Arch's case, you do end up making your way towards the beach. Kellen, I gotta say, my curiosity is killing me. Are you planning to DM me what you're doing, or are you going to spill the beans?
Do you want me to DM you, or do you want me to spill the beans?
That is completely up to you.
I'll just spill the beans.
Yeah.
We've milked the dramatic tension a little bit already with the rest of the party.
Yes, we have.
It is now technically semester break, although the students have not left yet. It's time to break rules. I'm sneaking into the arboretum to steal some flowers.
Why don't you ask Otis to help you?
Because that's not as fun as testing your new rogue skills.
This is true.
I am going to need some specifics on what sneaking means to you.
I am stealthing, trying to not allow anyone to see me, into the arboretum to steal some pink flowers. One pink flower, to be specific.
the plot of every Disney Channel movie in the early 2000s.
You ain't
One
wrong.
flower.
One very special pink flower. All right, you know, because you are friends with Otis, who takes the nature class, you know that the Arboretum hedge wall itself is enchanted. How are you going to get past it?
Well, I can't sneak through the front door.
There is no door. It is a pure hedge wall that those who have been granted access can just kind of walk through. But for everyone else,
Interesting.
even Otis only goes in with Drogon. This is not to say you cannot do it. I'm just asking for your point of attack. How are you going to do it?
I have an idea.
Yes, I like the smile on your face already. Please hit me with this idea.
He just knows it's enchanted. He doesn't know like how strong of an enchantment or what type of enchantment, right?
That is probably true. I mean, you would guess it's a barrier. It's probably abjuration. That's one of the 3 Bs. The only thing you got out of that class.
As of now, his gravity magic is untested against such an enchantment. I'm going to try to circle around the back where hopefully there won't be any people and use said spell to push out and create a space in the hedge maze.
Ooh. Okay. All right. Make me an intelligence check, and then make me a stealth check as you sneak around to the back to make sure no one follows you.
Can I aid the stealth check with invisibility?
Oh, if you're invisible, I don't need you to roll it at this point. You'll need to roll it at a later point.
Fair enough. 13 on the intelligence check.
You are aware. You've seen barriers before. You've seen a lot of barriers in this school. Because there's so many magical people, a lot of these barriers are specifically about magic. And you know from the way Otis has described the inside of the Arboretum, it's bigger on the inside than it should be. So, the idea comes to you that it might not be just a barrier. There might also be some sort of spatial magic that is making things larger or smaller, and that damage to the barrier is possible, but it would require a pretty high spell and could result in messing with some of that spatial magic. So it's definitely something you can try.
Ooh.
And if you damaged it, I would role play out what happens. It could get a little bit funky.
I'm thinking we try a slightly different tack.
Okay. I will say, actually, do me a favor. Make me a perception check.
Okay. 18.
Nice. It's not frequent, but there are a couple of sophomores that are going into the Arboretum who have permission in order to collect materials for the beach party, and you've seen Drogon come in and out a couple of times. On the side that's not closest to the hut.
So Kellen, as far as she's aware, has only seen Otis go in with Drogon.
Correct.
I was looking for light rule breaking, not potentially tear up the spatial magic.
I mean, you are more than welcome to still be sneaky. I'm just saying you may want to be less heavy-handed with it. I mean, unless you want to sit down and do some Arcana checks and see what you can figure out, but...
I mean...
You're only a first year.
I do have a high arcane bonus, though.
You do.
I'm going to try a slightly different tack with my newfound charismatic powers. I'm gonna try to bribe a sophomore to get me a flower.
Oh, nice! Let's see what sophomore we find. Let me pull up my list of characters here real quick. Roll me. We're gonna call this a straight. No, roll me a charisma check real quick.
Could I obtain advantage by offering to teach them a spell that they likely don't know?
Well, here's the thing.
No is a fair answer. I'm just asking.
Well, this check is for figuring out who you see. It's kind of like you are casing the people to see which one feels like they have the right vibe that would listen to you. Once you figure out who you have, you can decide if you persuade them, how you persuade them.
This is going to be charisma, you said?
Yeah. Well, I would let you do insight if you preferred, as you're trying to kind of glean which one would be more
I do
sympathetic
prefer.
to you.
That's way better. That's way better. Dirty 20.
You have your choice of Bethany, Kellieth, and Flory.
Oh, Benny, 100%. And he's literally just gonna tell her, I need to get a flower for a girl, because he's pretty sure that'll work.
Hey, Galen. You ready for the
Hey,
beach
Benny.
party?
Yes, actually, I was trying to do a last-minute super secret preparation.
Oh, I'm listening.
Okay, but I need you to keep it a secret between me and you.
I pinky promise. That is the most solemn promise I can offer.
He actually holds out his pinky. Does she take it?
She straight up does.
Excellent. So do you know Pyrea?
Yes.
I need a pink flower
You
for her.
see, like, she just gasps and like holds it for a long time as like she's trying not to explode in like emotions. And she's like, okay. You need a pink flower. That's super cute. I love it. Question. No, that's your call, not mine. Do you want to go find it?
He gets like that like wizard look of like he's kind of like digging for information a little bit now, and he's like, can I?
Technically, I don't know. But also, yeah, I'm pretty sure I can get you in. I mean, if I can't get you in, then, I mean, Drogon for sure can, but I think that, I mean, I can bring you in with me. I mean, if you'd rather...
Curiosity wins, and he's like, let's try it.
Awesome. Cool. Make me a quick nature check.
Okay. I have high int, so that's not awful. That tracks. That's a 6.
When she walks through, she just walks through, and it's like there is no hedge for her. It's the weirdest thing. It kind of pulls back. You can't see what's on the other side because all you see is like hedge perfectly silhouetting her. And you push forward, and the hedge doesn't quite move. It's like still in Bethany shape as you try to move forward. And you just end up with a ton of like bramble scratches on your arms. You make it through okay, but it was not pleasant. You have a feeling that like if you had waited like an additional second to follow her, it would have closed up and you wouldn't have been able to follow.
As in, I was 1 away from that happening, like 5 or less.
1 away from that happening.
Excellent. He will just kind of like look down at his arms at the like half dozen or more scratches and just be like, well, that's going to be difficult to explain. This is getting trickier, but we'll work it out.
Man, are you okay?
Yeah, I've had a lot worse. I'll tell you later.
I am super concerned, but I'm willing to listen to what you need because it is beach day. Tomorrow, though, you're going to explain it, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Do you promise?
Yeah, I promised. And he holds out his pinky.
She takes her pinky and she's like, yeah, okay, awesome. So we're kind of in the wrong section, I think, for what you might want, unless do you want like a tropical flower or
just for you and the audience, like that was Kellen realizing maybe he shouldn't explain about the undead beholder things right this second, because that will get in the way of planned flower. That was him being like, oh no, this was not nearly as bad. Never mind, I'll tell you.
I love the idea that you go to get a flower and you end up with like therapy.
Yeah,
therapy / an open investigation into what happened.
That sounds on brand for interacting with Bethany, though. Okay, so he'll follow her over to another section.
Yeah, so whatever kind of flower you are imagining, she can find for you. This is well connected, and she seems to have a vested interest in making sure you find exactly what you're looking for. So
Yeah, he looks for like an open bloom pink flower. You know, like, so as opposed to like a rose where all the petals are kind of like closed, it's like open bloom.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I literally just entered search pink flowers so I could see what some flowers were. Do you want like a big bloom or a small one?
Small, and I'll just tell you his plan is to break off the stem so she can put it in her hair.
That is freaking adorable.
It is.
Yep.
Absolutely gonna happen.
Oh.
That's what 10 charisma buys you.
Hey, it's better than nothing, man.
I don't know what this flower is, but it's gorgeous, so it's what you got.
Nice.
Let's see if I can find, like, this is what this flower is. Anyway, yes, you find a beautiful, small, pink flower that you are able to grab a sprig of, no problem. Anything else you want to do in the arboretum before you leave?
He would just ask Bethany, like, is there anything you need to get in here before we leave?
We've mostly just been picking out some of like the stumps and the dead logs and such for the bonfire later. So if you want to grab like a load of wood, cool.
Yeah, he'll help her like carry some stuff out.
Nice.
It also serves as a valid excuse if they get seen of being like, oh, well, I just recruited some manpower, basically.
Yeah. But you know, Bethany would tell the truth in a heartbeat.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that absolutely happens. And I'm excited to see how that plays out.
Indeed.
There's a picture of the flowers I was thinking of. Awesome. Anyone else?
I mean, Otis had his turn.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, because again, Micah is just sitting behind. I guess he's kind of waiting for others to kind of like head there first, just so he can kind of see what all of this is about. Like, what are you supposed to do, and all of that stuff. So he's mostly just hanging back, just watching things unfold and just watching. Yeah, just watching things unfold, pretty much.
So I would say like about half the students use the front gate and about half the students use the quote unquote secret passage to get to the same place. So there's that set of stairs that's carved into the cliff that leads down to the beach. I mean, this is like a rocky kind of beach. So it's not, picture less Florida, more Maine in terms of like what the beach outlook is, but it's a bright sunny day. So it's really quite nice out here. There's a really good sea breeze going, and there's a steady stream of people. Miri, I would say as you are walking along in your gorgeous sundress and outfits, you do see Micah kind of confusedly trying to figure out which path to follow. Like, who is he supposed to follow out to the beach?
Oh, Micah.
Hi.
Hi. She'll lift off her sunglasses. Like, it's me. It's me.
What's that for?
To protect my eyes.
He looks up. What from what?
The sun, you silly.
What? But it's normal. And he kind of like points up at the sun, and he just like, he looks normal to him.
Well, my dad's always told me don't look at the sun, so they just kind of put these on me sometimes because I would always look at the sun. But now it's just become a habit. So don't look at the sun, Micah.
Okay.
It will hurt your eyes and burn them out.
Oh. Okay. Can I see?
Sure. She'll hand her sunglasses over him.
circle of sunglasses and it probably takes up like half of his face. So he just like looking around. He's like, oh, it's dark vision.
It is kind of like a different dark vision, yeah.
He nods and he holds it back to you and gives it to you, sis. Thank you.
Oh, you can wear them if you want. You look so cute with them.
Will I fit in?
She kind of just looks at him. I think yes. Yeah.
Okay. And he kind of puts the sunglasses back on. And then from there, he's like, okay. Kind of stands up a little straighter. Before he was a bit nervous and kind of like clutching his book. But now he's like looking around, not really smiling, but just like kind of a bit straighter. He says, yeah, and I follow you?
Sure, I was going to go look to see where everybody else was. I don't know. Everybody kind of just ran off. But I am going to find everybody, and then we're all going to go to the beach.
He nods. He says, oh, okay. You lead. I follow.
All right, and then she will walk off into just a random direction because she feels like it.
As you are wandering your way, like I said, seeing streams of people bringing. Several people have like baskets of fruit that they're cutting up. Several people are bringing like the equipment and supplies for barbecue. There's you've noticed a few people have dug out places in the sand and then put it in tarps and double layered it in order to keep cool. Various things, so they're like kind of chilling some jugs of different juices and that kind of thing. People are milling about a little bit aimlessly as sophomores are frantically trying to be like, okay, no, wait, if we put this here and we put this here, and you see Bettany and Kellen come down those sea cliff steps with loads of wood in their hand for the bonfires. Lots and lots and lots of activity out here. Eventually, someone does set up something similar to beach volleyball. Lots of people are starting to swim in the ocean or explore around for cool-looking shells. Some of the musical students, the students who took music or who are just musically inclined, are jamming out. There's that one super awkward kid who brings his lute to everything and likes to get in the middle and like play the 3 songs he knows over and over really loud. That's definitely happening.
Drum us yield Wonderwall.
Wondereth Wall is currently playing. That is.
I would play it, but sadly that'd be DMCA. Oh man, I know that dude.
Yeah. And unfortunately, we all know that dude.
That's true. Oh man.
Yeah, so it's early to mid morning right now. You know that people are gonna hang out and play for a while. Then there's probably gonna be like a large kind of cook it yourself lunch where there's lots of barbecue items provided and several campfires to get around. Half buffet, half DIY. And then in the afternoon, you're not sure what's planned, but you do know that kind of the big finale will be after sunset. There's going to be the huge bonfire that they're all going to light together on the beach. People are going to like hang out in more of a group. So what would you like to do for your morning?
First, because she knows Micah probably eventually would like a little quiet time to himself in case he gets a little overwhelmed. She wants to find like a small spot, probably closer to like the shore, just so like a little blanket down. It's like, this is where Micah can sit.
Oh, I can sit here?
If you want to, if things get a little too crazy out here, I don't know how these people party, but if it gets a little too scary, or maybe somebody tries to take your book or something, you can come over here.
Who would try take book? Take book?
I don't know. Maybe bullies, the blue dragonborn.
Can Kellen be coming over at this point?
Absolutely.
He just goes, I don't think that blue dragonborn's gonna bother Micah. Maybe the rest of us.
What?
Oh, I had a word with Hano, whatever her name is.
Who?
Blue Dragonborn. We exchanged some words. She was staring at Micah. I told her to leave him alone. Well, I was meaner than that, but no, Micah, I told her to leave you alone.
Kellen, did you pull a knife on her?
No, but I will if I need to.
When happened?
Yeah,
Stare. When happened? She,
the carnival thingy.
Oh, during then?
Yeah.
He pauses for a second, like deep in thought. And then
Kellen's just like, I thought I was doing, should I not have said leave him alone? He's like genuinely not sure anymore.
DM, is it possible from that ordeal, from that description, to make a correlation between that sight, her staring, and, well, you know.
I don't know if that would give you the correlation, but you do remember, like, I would say it jogs your memory that you did briefly talk with her slightly earlier that day, like after the spell darts before you went into the arena. So I don't know that you can make like a 1-to-1, this is that, but it would jog your memory a bit. And make a quick perception check, any of the three of you who would like to.
Okay.
Of course. Never pass down a perception check.
Ooh, nice. 18 plus
A 19 for Mary.
20, 18 plus 6, 24?
Mm-hmm.
It's 24.
11.
11. Kellen, you're pretty focused on your individual mission objectives, so you don't really pay attention to who's around. But the other two of you take a moment to like look.
Oh.
You don't currently see Honinko anywhere around.
Give me just 1 second. We just go quick, take a quick break. Give me just 1 second. The box got to move on. We'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. We are now back. So, and with that said, Aaron, take it away.
As I'm not sure if we said it, Kellen, you're too focused. You don't really notice who's around. But Miri and Micah, as you're thinking about it, you actually look for Honinko, and as you look around, you don't currently see her. Maybe she's upstairs. Maybe she's further down the beach. But at present, she's nowhere near you.
Other question. Not for Kellen, for the two of them. We know her party, right?
You are aware, like they all they dress a certain way. They're the Tides Keepers, so they've kind of got like this blue and silver motif.
Does Micah or Miri notice any of them?
You would see Nossel, who I don't think Micah or Miri have met, but Shai has.
Gotcha.
I don't think you guys know. Well, did you meet Rio? You met
No.
Rio? No.
Mm-mm.
I think that's the only one that any of the party have met. So, other than that, you wouldn't be sure. Nozzle is currently hanging out alone. Not like surrounded by his party.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Can we find her, please?
Flamingo?
Hmm.
Well, I mean, probably, but why?
Seems a bit strange to want to find her.
Micah, she sucks.
Sucks?
No good.
Oh,
Boring to be around. Not.
oh. Sucks bad. Sucks
Mhm.
so not suck juice or drink, it sucks bad. Okay. Wait. Why what talk questions?
Okay. I mean, if you really want to find her, I'll try.
Thank you.
Sure, buddy. He pats his shoulder and just immediately leaves and go start looking for Honinko.
Oh no. I was gonna get into a fight today. I know.
I absolutely never
Micah asked,
know
so
what's
he's
the
just
plan.
Micah asked, so he's just like, okay.
God.
I absolutely never know what's a plan. I give you a beach episode. We're looking for a blue dragonborn that we've seen multiple times. Cool.
Be like that sometimes.
Miri's gonna keep checking every once in a while to see if Kellen is just dead on the beach.
Otis has his eye on them, but he's kind of keeping his distance.
He does plan to head out from the beach and ask everyone that he knows along the way if they've seen Honinko.
This is priceless. I love it so much. So it does bring an interesting point. You are outside of the academy. There are no magical wards here. You throw a fireball in the middle. There's nothing to stop it from going wherever it goes. There's no barriers, no anything here.
Oh.
So that is something that maybe you're realizing. But yeah, no, you walk through, you see, you see lots of people. You see Flory, who's setting up some stuff. And he's like,
Flory.
what's up, man? Kellen, right, dude?
Yeah, dude. I'm doing a favor for the kid. Yeah. Do you seen Honinko? It's like a blue dragonborn, tideskeeper, something or other.
I mean, I don't know all of the first years, dude, but
oh no, I mean
really.
Yeah, and really gaudy, annoying looking blue and silver uniform. You would know.
Oh, nah, man, I don't know. I'm just setting up for the barbecue. Do you want some dibs on anything?
Oh, nah. Thank you though.
Cool. I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Or not. You can hang if you want.
Oh no, yeah, I would, but I'm doing a favor for the kid who's he's a kid, so.
Yeah, man, we're all just kids though, right?
Yeah, true. And with that note, he'll be like, I'll see you later, and just
bye, man. You get not a few steps further, and you run into Iana.
Does he know her?
Yes, Iana is the friend of Marcus and Pyrea.
Yeah.
The gothy-looking one, who has also known.
Otis knows her as well.
Yeah.
Not to be weird, but what is she wearing? Is she wearing something gothy and dope?
She is definitely wearing something gothy dope. It's very like goth meets. It's very Strider from Lord of the Rings. Like it's gothy ranger. Like looks a little bit intimidating, dangerous, but definitely more natural than unnatural.
He'll walk up to Ayana and be like, "Hey, sick threads."
Yeah, of course they are. Also, hi.
Hello. Hey,
Cool.
look, listen. Are you good, bro?
I am fine. Thanks for asking. Shouldn't you be bothering someone else? And she kind of gestures her head a long ways away down the beach. You can see Parvia is helping set up beach volleyball.
Right. Yeah. No, that is definitely objective number 2. See, here's the problem, though. I got a mission from the kid, so this is like sort of important.
Cool. Make a persuasion check.
Since Otis is keeping his distance, I can assume, can he see what's going on kind of clearly? Just like not hear it, but can he see it?
It depends. The beach is large, so it's hard to say like what part of the beach you can see. You can see a lot of the beach, but there's a lot of people moving around.
Okay, got it.
15.
Nice. So she kind of gives you a once over, and then she looks past you over your shoulder to where Micah is talking with Miri. And is like, "Yeah, okay, we do stuff for the kid. What's up?"
Yeah, like he super rarely asks, so I figured it's kind of important. Have you seen Honinko, like Blue Tidekeeper?
Oh my god, I hate her.
You are in great company. The silver is just.
Isn't it just like I get having a motif? Obviously, I have one, but she just takes it too far.
Yeah, but the thing is, like when you choose a motif, you pick like a good one. You know.
Thank you. You're right, and you should say it. What's up?
Yeah, no.
Honinko. Did I see her today? I feel like I saw her yesterday when we were finishing up after nature class. I don't think I've seen her today, but if I do see her, I'll find you.
Yeah, and don't worry, I'll soon.
All right. Hey, if you screw this up, I will come for you. And you do see, like, she goes into a fairly threatening stance. One moment, let me roll intimidation for her real quick.
Ooh.
Not great.
Oh.
It came out to about a 13, so it's moderately intimidating. In which, like, you can see that she has weapons on her.
Reaction's going to be the same. He's like, "Yeah. So here's the thing. I've got a fancy new dagger. Not really trying to test it. Like, so. Oh, yeah, I got it."
I just want you to know that your fancy dagger won't save you if she comes crying.
Yeah. I understand. So,
but I mean, you seem like an alright guy. I ain't trying to stop you.
That's like the biggest compliment I've ever seen from Ayana, right?
Yeah, for sure.
In my limited time spent with her.
Super negative and every other like interaction you've had.
Dope. He will pull out the pink flower and show it to her. He's like, "I got it covered."
Oh my god, that is sickeningly cute.
Yeah. I know. And he'll kind of like hang his head a little bit while he walks away.
My god. She does I don't know if you necessarily see it. She does smile a bit at your back as you leave, and then gets her game face back on and goes back to terrorizing whoever she was terrorizing before you walked up.
Dang, is she a bully? Let's go.
So I don't know if you want to like sort of summarize.
Yeah, I just wanted to give you a couple of interactions with people who are around. You spend a good 30 minutes, and you haven't run into anyone who's seen her this morning yet. At least not down the beach.
Is it like enough to strike him as suspicious?
It's enough to strike you as maybe not everyone has come down to the beach yet. Maybe some people are still up. Or, I mean, maybe she's not big on beaches. Maybe she's heading home or whatever she's got to do. Like, you don't know her situation.
I'm going to do something really dumb.
Cool.
I'm going to go to their dorm at this point after the 30 minutes. And with mind you, no guns blazing. That's not the intention, just so you know how he's going to approach. He's going to be like, look, it's everyone should come to the end of the semester party. I'm going to go see what's going on.
Ah, see, you know what that is? It's correct. That's great.
Called temperism, people.
I am going to cut back to that in just a moment because I want to give in that 30 minutes, kind of check in with what people are doing. Artist, what are you up to?
Eventually, he would stop talking about politics and go and find the others.
That long?
I think, honestly, you ended up cornering Professor Alfred Loom for a second. And, like, he was doing that thing where, like, yeah, no, that's super impressive that you are so well connected to everyone. And yes, no, yeah, I did know that actually. And, like, it just kind of keeps going where he's throwing off all these hints about, like, you know, I am the professor of continental politics. You're not giving me new information, and you're just regurgitating everything you know about this very specific thing. And eventually, he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. It looks like I am needed elsewhere." And he wanders off, and as he does, I think you're watching as Kellen is coming back up the beach and then heading up the Sea Cliff stairs. And you can see Mira and Kellen over there. Otis is a little bit further away back towards like where the cliffside is rather than on the shore itself. Shai, where are you kind of on the hypothetical map?
She would probably be finding the others too and setting up somewhere close to the beach.
Nice. I think that you kind of catch Shai's eyes as you are walking through. You kind of notice that she's going through the crowd looking for everybody. And you do kind of reconverge in the middle so that you're close to where Otis is and also where Miri and Micah are.
I'm near. Who am I near?
You're now nearish everyone but Kellen.
Everyone but Kellen. She will go and fly to everybody carrying this bag that is obviously way too big for her.
I love it. I have the most adorable like mental image of this.
Just dragging it across.
Do you need a hand, Chai?
Oh, that would be lovely.
Thank you. You will take the bag from her. Right, well, I hope you all have been enjoying yourself so far. I've had a few different riveting conversations, though not too many people are very up to date on their politics recently.
Oh, you're doing that thing again.
What thing?
And they imagine there's too many kids up to date with politics.
Yeah, like Kellen says sometimes, like, down with the big, I don't know. He says this weird thing.
Do you talk politics at beach?
Not really, no.
So don't say why not.
I don't think politics is the greatest of conversations at the beach. Could talk about the sand. Don't talk about sand, Archers.
But the sand, if you heat it up, it will become glass eventually. It gets very hard to get out of things. There's not much to talk about with sand, to be honest. Sand.
What are normal beach talks?
But really, I talk about politics everywhere, Father. There's the noble houses to talk about, there's upcoming soirees, meeting with rival kingdoms. There's so much to talk about all the time. I don't see any reason.
Who knows how to swim?
I think at that notion, Micah kind of like looks towards the water and then just like pauses for a second and just stares off into it. And then he stops. And then he looks over and says, he shrugs. But he can't keep his, I think he keeps looking at the water a bit.
Right, we have a maybe. Shy?
I really didn't swim. You can the wings and everything.
Oh, that is true.
Though I'll be more than happy to float above the water.
Maybe they have one of those, I don't know, float device. I don't. Like a cushion.
Something I can sit on.
Yeah, I bet somebody has.
Why would you put a cushion in the water? It would ruin the fabric.
Well, what if it was like waterproof or something?
Why? Sure, I suppose you could do that. Don't see why not.
I don't like water.
As you say that, Micah, I would like a wisdom saving throw, please.
Dang.
Oh.
Yep. Wow. Wisdom. Yep. There's an 8.
You clearly state for your party to hear, I don't like water. And as you do, you're watching the way that the sun kind of hits the waves that are rolling in, and you sink into your own mind into a long forgotten fragment of a memory. It is dark, it is night, you're cold and wet. And you have just this moment. It is such a foreign feel to you that you're not really able to place it. But for just a moment, you have this feeling of being unable to breathe. Because you rolled an 8, I'm going to say you're a little out of it for the next couple minutes.
And then he kind of looks at himself because he's like holding against his chest, but he doesn't really understand because he doesn't breathe. And so he's like, what? Don't like. And he's going to take a few steps back from the water. Don't breathe. Wait. Why? What?
I think here, Micah, your words start to fail you as you are, because you got that 8. I think that you lose the ability to communicate for a little bit. You're basically, it's not stunned per se, but you are deep within your own head.
Oh, okay.
So you kind of lose that ability. Like you're trying to talk through it, and as you're trying to talk through it, it's just dragging you further into that memory, or part of a fragment of a maybe of a memory. So you're kind of winding yourself up, as it were, into more of a panic state. As all of you are talking about swimming, and Micah suddenly goes quite quiet and looks worryingly upset, considering his normally unaffected affect. We're going to quickly zoom over to where Kellen has just knocked on the door to the dorm room of the Tideskeepers, and the door swings open, and you see a very upset Haninko, who's behind the door, and says, "What do you want?" And that's where we're going to stop for a break.
Oh my god, no!
Well, yeah. Happy beach episode, everyone. We're gonna take a solid break, and we'll be back for the second half. I hope you all are enjoying this. If you like what you see here and would like to talk about the campaign, you can join us at our Discord, which the link will be in chat below. We have a section for spoilers as well as not spoilers, a fan art section, and in case you have any questions towards the cast regarding their characters or just the campaign in general, we would definitely love for you to join us. And we would like to see you there. So, with that said, we're going to take a quick break and we'll see you for the second half of Riverwood Academy. Farewell for now. All right, and we are now back for the second half of Riverwood Academy. So, with that said, Aaron, take it away.
Kellen, roll an insight check for me really quick as this door flings open and you see Honinko say, "What do you want?"
9.
All right. Honinko seems aggressively curious about why you're there.
He's like, it's end of semester party. Can we just cruise?
What?
I'm just can we just have a truce? Like the end of semester party.
Sure, truce.
Can you come? The kid wants to talk to you.
I do not want to see him.
That's the problem because he wants to talk to you. So
honestly, everyone else in this whole academy might have they're wrapped around his finger, but that's cool if that's what you want. It's not what I want.
Yeah. Is there a reason you're not coming to the party?
It's not my thing. Don't worry about it.
Okay. So, just to clarify, you will not be accompanying me to the party to go talk to him?
Did you want to try to do something in order to make that happen?
Are you asking me?
I am asking the player.
I don't think so, because he doesn't really have anything coercive other than force. And I'm guessing since he failed his insight, he probably doesn't have enough information to try to persuade her out of whatever's going on. So
it would be an uphill battle. You can try it if you want. The DC would be a little bit higher if you want to try to persuade.
Sure. I mean, she also hates us, so it's harder for that reason. Yeah, that's a 7. So I think the way that plays out is he's like, I mean, are you sure?
Your persistence is noted. I'm not going. I will say, I mean, your insight sucked, but you're apparently, you're a smart dude. She looks tired.
he will like what's going on?
There's only one person at this campus that I would rather not speak about this more, and that is the person you're trying to take me to talk to. I'm fine. Enjoy your day.
I feel like he's more concerned by the fact that that was like almost pleasant than anything else, but he's just like, okay.
Right.
And he turns and leaves.
Bye. And the door shuts behind me. Back at the beach. What are we doing? Micah's being quiet. Otis is being standoffish. Shy is carting around things larger than her body.
Actually, Otis took that bag from me.
Oh, nice.
No, Ardris did. Otis didn't take nothing.
Sorry.
Let's not prescribe any manners to Otis, all right?
I mean, he would, but reasons.
True.
Mike, are you all right? I don't particularly care for the water myself, but you seem a bit more distracted than normal. Are you all right?
I don't hear anything, right?
No, it sounds like muffled underwater.
Yeah, he just looks off into the ocean. He doesn't really say anything.
Shy will kind of shake him. Hello? Are you
Make
okay?
a medicine check. I've decided in this world, mental medicine counts as medicine. Make a medicine check.
Okay.
That is a 21.
Micah, you couldn't hear anything that Ardris said, but as Shy is focused on you and is kind of trying to figure out what is wrong, some of that like holy intent is cutting through the nightmare that you're kind of trapped in. And you get the impression that someone you trust is nearby, and that kind of steals you a little bit. Go ahead and re-roll that wisdom save.
Okay. Okay. 13.
You blink, and as you blink, the night starts to dissipate. You're not fully yourself. You're still rattled, but you are aware of your surroundings and can see your party around you.
Are you okay, lad?
What? Where? What? Water? Breathe? No. Don't. Why? Why?
Sorry, I'm afraid I didn't understand. Did you have a bad experience with water?
Maybe. Breathe. Memory? Maybe. Breathe. No breathe. Now, no. Wait, no breathe. He checks himself. He doesn't breathe. He's like, no breathe. Wait. Don't like. He kind of like steps back from the ocean. He says, I don't like. I stay back.
Well,
Stay back.
You didn't have to go in the water. You can play with the balls and other beach activities.
No, don't like close. Too close. Back. I go back. He wants to look not like completely back to the the I guess the spot, but at least like farther away to where like the ocean doesn't look like close to the distance, close to his horizon? Is there like a spot you could like essentially retreat to where it's not like a strong visual presence in front of him?
There's no. I mean, this beach runs like kind of. It's not a deep beach. It runs along the edge of these cliffs. So there's only so much back you can go before you hit cliff. But I think as you back up, you do see Otis. You get closer to him where he is chilling out. And you can see that, like, kind of like during the festival where the library was set up as a place for people to chill, there is an area slightly off to the side where other people who maybe are more sensitive to the noise or the sounds are hanging out, reading books, kind of just relaxing in a corner. It won't take you necessarily any farther away from the ocean, but it will take you further away from the people who are playing in the ocean. So that might be helpful for you.
He points to the librarian. Go, I go. And he kind of like grabs his book, and I think he kind of like takes one quick glance at the ocean one last time, before heading over towards the library section.
Yeah, so the archivist is not here. It's just a bunch of people who have like blankets and stuff. They've set up some like tents. What do you call those where it's like on tent poles, but it's just the top part? I blanked on what it's called.
There's
Like a canopy?
canopy.
Yeah, like a canopy. Yeah, there's several canopies or awnings set up so people can be in the shade because the sun is quite bright and hot today. And I do think you do end up close to Otis. So Otis, Micah is wandering back towards you. You've seen all of this happen. I don't think you were close enough to hear it, but you can tell that Micah just had a bad experience.
Would he be able to, would Micah's facial expression have changed?
Definitely. It's not full on terror per se, but it's definitely a look of confusion for a second, as well as like I said, just a bit confusion and self-reflection as he's like holding on to his book. Like I say, he just looks like he's almost like walking in autopilot mode towards this area per se. He knows this is the space he needs to be, but you can definitely tell he's thinking about other stuff.
Otis is going to use his ring of message and point at Miri.
First time it's being used other than to test it out. Heck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, Otis has used it before. Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, in between, like I was during the festival.
I think there was a prank one time and it was used.
Probably.
He's like, Rabbit, I'm going to be with the kid. Don't follow. And that's going to be the message. And Otis is just
kind of
like
turns around. What?
Otis is not going to respond after that because you know how message works, and he's just going to tell Micah, and he's just going to give him his space, and he's obviously giving him a wide berth, but he's telling Micah, keeping an eye on him.
I like to think that you both end up kind of sharing the same blanket on opposite ends as Micah like sits down with his manuscript. It's a little bit hard because there is a pretty good breeze here. You're having to be very careful that none of the breeze takes away these loose papers.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you are like taking out one page and re-putting the rest in, reading it, and then kind of doing that over and over and over.
Yeah, and that for him was completely normal. Like, oops.
Kellen, I think you are re-arriving about this point. And Miri and Ardra, and Shy, since you're still over by the ocean, can make quick perception checks.
Perception check? Oh, that ripped me. That's a 9.
21.
That's a 13.
Nice. The Argus and Shy are kind of taking in the views, thinking about what just happened. It's kind of weird, kind of awkward. Mary, you hear Otis. You're kind of looking at him like what? You look back to the ocean, and something catches your eye. There's a bit of like driftwood that is coming in, and then there's more. And then there's more. You see quite a few large pieces of wood that are drifting to the shore near where you are.
Yeah. She'll just kind of like, hey, guys, there's a stuff. And she'll just go over to like the shoreline to kind of see like where is it really drifting from.
Yeah, I mean the ocean. Wood. Yeah, the ocean is big. It's hard to like pinpoint where it's coming from, but there are quite a few large pieces of wood that are now coming in. With your 21, I will say you do notice one of them has. It looks like it was maybe painted on, and you can see part of it. It's the first word is missing the second letter, so it's L blank ST. And the second word is HOP, and you think there might have been a fourth word, but it stops right there. Fourth letter, but it stops right there.
Aaron, you're mean.
I'm gonna put it in I'll put it in the chat so you can kind of see what that looks like, so you don't have to remember the letters. Let's see. Do you show this to Shy and Ardris and Kellen, who's now walking down?
She would have like as soon as she saw it, she's like, "There's stuff, wood over there." Like pick one up and show it to them.
Do you show them the one with lettering? It's a little bit further out. You'll have to wade in just a little bit to snag it if you want to.
Sure, she'll go in for it.
Cool. No check necessary. You're just wading in the ocean. It takes you a little bit, but you do grab it. It's a bit big, so you kind of have to like drag it over. But when you do, the four of you who are there, please go ahead and roll me. I'm going to call it... Well, Kellen, you don't need to roll. For the other three of you, make it history. I feel like history is the best one for memory. Kellen, you don't need to roll because you got keen mind.
That's a 4.
I got a 20.
Ooh, Shy.
Oh, Shy. I don't know if you... I don't remember if I gave you one of these. Hold on. Kellen, you are viscerally pulled into the memory of a dream you had one time where you were on a ship. And at the end of that dream, there was some sort of negative effect that happened to the ship.
Do I recall the lettering of the ship?
I don't know that you saw it, but I think that seeing this pulls you into that memory. So there's something that connects you. Shy, I don't think I ever gave you a memory. So did I? Did you wake up on a ship at any point?
Nope.
No. All right. You see this and you're looking at it, you're like, huh? Could be like last hop, lost hop, list hop, lust hop. Could be. I mean, for the words that are for the letters that are missing, you could Wheel of Fortune this quite a bit. You don't understand. I will say with your check, I'll just say like you notice that Kellen notices. The other two seem to just be like, huh? I don't know, lettering.
With keen mind, can I rattle off the various different combinations?
You absolutely can.
And can I end on a particular one?
Yes.
Last hope.
Yeah.
Why would it be any of those other ones? Lust?
I don't know.
Really? Like, why would anyone put that on the ship? I don't understand. Well, I suppose. Is there any way to is it coming from like a specific direction, or is it like just appearing?
I mean, where you are on this cliff, you have a large section of ocean kind of in front of you, so it's difficult to say. Like it's coming in pieces, out. Like it's hard to say like a direction. Maybe kind of north-ish.
Can I fly out and see if I,
Yeah, you can, if you want to take a moment to fly for a bit, you can.
Cast 5. That's why I want to do the same thing.
Nice. So the two of you, a la some superheroes, kind of just lift off from the beach and decide to make a couple of big loops. As you do, you do not see any like large wreckage or anything like that. You do see more pieces. So you would guess that it is either very far away or very much downed. You can't really tell. You do, I would say you do remember, like just kind of all of you remember, there was a pretty big storm last night. It's why today is such a really nice day, you'd guess, those pressure systems.
Hmm.
Well, it doesn't look like there's anything to notice here at the moment.
What are you noticing?
I said, I don't think there's anything here to notice at the moment. Well, shall we go back?
why, unless you have anything that can help you under the water?
Hold back and hold my breath for a decent amount of time.
I mean, it never really hurts to see.
It would ruin my robe, but I suppose that is a sacrifice that I can make this time.
Well, why did your name bring a bathing suit?
This is my beach wear.
Alright.
God.
I'd go down there with you, but I didn't think I'll be much of a help.
Okay. No problem. I will take care of it, of course. I'm sure you could go under the water.
I really, really, really love that, like, everyone was like, yay, beach, like, episode. 3 of you have decided over the course of this episode that you don't swim. Like, I love it. Okay, so you want to go from flying to diving and swim around in the water for a little bit, like, miles out?
Sure. Yeah, sure. No, it's fine.
Cool. Make an athletics check for me.
I am
To lose our juice.
Today, the wizard is learning about riptides.
Hey, 16. 16.
Hey, 16's
Really?
not bad. So it is cold. My goodness, you come out from the harsh like sun, and as you dive into the water, you're immediately caught with like kind of the spreezy bits. What's your constitution mod?
7. The number is 17. The
17.
modifier is 3.
3. All right, cool. So you can hold your breath for a fairly decent time. How are you moving? What's your goal here?
I'm just looking to see if there's anything important under the water at this point. Just something to make running my ropes worth it.
Yeah. As you get like 60 feet below, you're at kind of the limit of where your dark vision is. If you go lower, you're going to get less and less visual information. But go ahead and if you're going to stay right there, make me a quick perception check under the water.
2 plus something.
2?
6. 6 total.
Ouch. No, you see some fish. That's cool. If you wanted to catch some for the barbecue, you could. You swim around for a while. I mean, by the nature of how like this cliffside beach works, not very far out from the beach, there's another like underwater cliff. So it's pretty deep, like not very far from shore. So as you're looking around, it's so dark underneath you. It's not that you're not doing a good job looking. It's that the environment is difficult to look in.
Also, it's doing a good job. Yeah, he will go back up to the surface.
Okay, you are now bobbing in the ocean a mile or so out from shore.
So has concentration on fly ended? Oops.
That's a good question. What's the duration for fly?
10 minutes.
I think that you've probably, in order to get out here to look around and swim around, you've probably hit the duration of 10 minutes.
All right, I'll cast fly again.
Okay. Cool. So, less superhero, more like wet and soggy. You lift yourself out of the ocean and rejoin Shy. Good news is you get a little bit of a blow dry as you fly back to the shore, getting some of that air currents going. You don't see anything of note on your way back. So, like, it's not like there's a large wreckage or many pieces coming in. You've just gotten several, enough to be noticeable. But other than that, you don't see any distinct features around.
I will have to get rid of all of these ropes after this.
Did you find anything?
Nope.
Oh, well,
Absolutely nothing.
thank you for checking.
Right.
So then let's go back.
Yeah, Argus is flying back.
Nice. You both arrive. You land next to Kellen and Miri, who were talking about.
Miri would have. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
So she would have been like, Kellen, what if they drowned? What if they went down into the water and the riptide just took them away?
Ellen just goes, well, the last time they flew off together without saying anything, they found that weird cave where we had to kill some zombie beholders, so...
Oh God, what if they have water beholders?
The GM will remember that.
And then he just goes, anyway, I promised I would make a delivery. And then he walks off to Viria.
Aww. All right, so you guys are landing as Kellen. You see him heading further down the beach, kind of in an easterly direction. Westerly direction. And Perry's there. They've just finished setting up all the stuff for Ye Old Fantasy Beach Volleyball and are starting up a game and kind of trying to decide who's on what team. And she looks kind of concerned because there's an odd number. And then she sees you walk up. She's like, hey, Kellen.
Hey. Would you rather be on the same team or opposite teams?
Her face lights up that you are the one to suggest it and she doesn't have to ask you. And she looks really doesn't know what to choose. Separate.
Okay.
But if I win, what do I get?
Oh, ho, ho, ho.
Hmm.
Do it, Kellen. Do it.
Remember, flat Ted charisma.
So I think the way to play this is he's going to say something that he means, but is it's gonna come off a bit awkward because it could also mean something else. And he's like, I think I'll have to tell you that privately.
All right.
But you did forget something.
I did not. What did I forget?
No, you did. And he'll take out the pink flower and break off the stem.
Thank you, Cal.
You're welcome.
I'm still gonna win though.
Good luck. Good luck.
Thanks. Go ahead. We're going to do this a very quick skill challenge. Athletics versus athletics.
Okay.
So it's just going to be best out of 5.
Okay. So just do 5 rolls.
We'll do one at a time because if you hit 3, then we won't go past that. Oof.
14.
You win that first one. One of your brand new teammates of somebody you don't even know the name of, sets you up for a perfect spike, and you come down over it. And Pyria is surprised, especially since what are you wearing right now?
He's wearing some purple swim trunks and like a muscle shirt, basically. And
Nice.
the sheath for his new dagger underneath the trunks.
I love it. I love it. And we'll say, I mean, all of your stuff is packed away on the beach. Like, if you need something, you don't have to run all the way up to your dorms to get it. But you definitely, you get the first point of the game. And several of the people on the other team are teasing Pyria mercilessly about this.
I have the second one ready.
All right, let me roll really quick. Oh,
13.
natural 1.
Ooh.
Wow.
She ends up like, you both end up face to face at the net, and she tries to get it over the net, and you just like one hand it right back at her. Like not
God.
painfully or anything, but like she missed an opportunity there for sure.
This is IQ. Let's go.
Her face is like, as much as a pink person can turn bright red, she is quite blushing.
Let's do it, Kellen.
Kellen.
14.
Yo!
That still beats a 13, man.
Oh!
I was like, I finally got a good roll, and you still beat me by 1. Yeah, so this one, it takes a little bit more back and forth. It's set up for a while. Like, the teams are actually playing pretty well. And you have a chance to actually get that driving spike, but at the very end, you end up passing it to a teammate who they weren't expecting, because everyone's eyes have been on you because you made the last 2 points. And they get it over with no trouble whatsoever. And that is the game. First to 3 points wins. And she kind of takes a moment. Everyone is, like I said, they are mercilessly teasing her about how, like, oh yeah, of course you couldn't play. Like, oh, what were you too busy looking at? And she's like, shut up. And eventually heads her way back over to where you are.
Can I go in for the 10 charisma slam dunk?
Yes, you can.
He'll go. See, we found out we're better on the same team.
Ah, my
I love it.
heart. Oh,
Where
oh
did
my God,
this
you're
come
so
from?
right.
You've been here,
Yeah.
dog.
9 charisma couldn't have pulled that off. We needed the 10 charisma.
We needed
That point of charisma really helped.
She like bursts into laughter, and she's like, "No, you're absolutely right. I am so surprised. I had no idea. Like, you played this before?
Has he? Probably not,
Have you?
right?
Probably not. You're not from a coastal community."
I'm gonna lie.
Use them speech class points. Let's
Starting
go.
off strong, huh?
He just goes like, once or twice.
Cool. I mean,
That's a half truth.
once or twice, and you're really good at it. But you're really good at learning things, right?
Oh, yeah.
We never did say what you would get if you won.
No, we didn't.
Let's go.
Free stuff. Free stuff.
Come on, man.
Well, are you going to tell me? Or do you also have to tell me this one in private?
He's just gonna lean in. We have 10 charisma.
Yeah. You hear the crowd just absolutely behind you stops everything that they were doing. They were in the middle of the second game. Like, they set up new teams, and they completely stopped everything they were doing to cheer you guys on. And
Then when he pulls back, he says, "Oh yeah, that's why I was gonna do it in private."
yeah, she looks extremely happy and embarrassed and happy all at the same time. Kind of like that conflicting where it's like, oh my God, everyone's watching me, but does it matter? Oh, but everyone is watching me. Literally, everyone is watching me, kind of thing. But she looks really happy, and she's like, hey, so maybe we could go sit by a fire or something?
Yeah, let's do that.
Cool. As the afternoon kind of starts whiling away, you guys have been set up exploring the beach, collecting some shells, playing various games. There's the barbecues that are happening that as you get hungry, you just kind of throw more meat on the fire and get what you want. And slowly we're coming to like kind of the sunset area. They're starting to get, they had a bunch of smaller fires, but now they're getting one large bonfire set up. And everyone is kind of starting to conglomerate that. People's moods are getting pretty up, like because this is like the big final like celebration moment for surviving your semester. The sophomores are telling all of these like horror stories about their first semester that you're like, I doubt that most of that is true, but we're sort of the same now. So I'm going to like be like, yeah, sure. And so you go through all of these things, and before we end, there's one other thing that happens. At the end of the day, as the stars are coming out and the bonfire is lit, there's this moment of quiet. And it's weird because it's like the kind of quiet where there's been a persistent hum in the background that stops, that you didn't recognize was there until it was gone. And I think a lot of people don't notice because there's partying and campfires and like, you know, there's some dancing going on in the corner. But I think all of you have been pretty in tune to the weirdness that's been going on recently in your own lives. And you've had, you know, a lot of stuff going on today. So you're kind of on edge. And so you have just this second more of like notice that something's going to happen before you hear a loud crack. And then the grinding of stone and explosions of earth. And you look up on the top of the cliff where Rivenwood Academy is. And you can see bursting through the earth are these two towers that should be in the understudy that are going up through the arboretum. And you have time to catch the top glimpses of those as suddenly the classroom building explodes as two classroom buildings were trying to be forced into one place. The library in particular is utterly destroyed. You can see that. And from your position on the beach, you're having to start dodging as these huge, massive chunks of stone and shards of the wall are raining down on top of the beach. And it is chaos. Everyone is suddenly running around, you know, screaming, trying to figure out where everyone is. You look up. Argis, you look up and you see Elliot, who's on the beach, and he's looking around. He's like, Drogan. And he starts to head towards those sea cliff stairs that would take him up to where these ruins of the academy now are. And Professor Alfred Bloom stops him and is like, no, listen, I have too many students to look out for right now. I am not going to look for you to stay here. We're going to find them. Help the students to the evacuation point. And Elliot looks like he wants to fight him on it. But he's the quartermaster for the city. He's got a lot of responsibility kind of built into who he is. And as he looks around at scared and screaming and injured children from the rain of this rock and debris from above, he kind of nods and starts to turn away and begins guiding people towards, there's a small cave further down the beach that he's starting to move people towards. Kellen, as you are walking, for just a brief moment, you see Bim, who has been kind of watching some of the water activities. Not a big swimmer themselves, but has just been kind of keeping an eye on things here on the beach. And they stop you and they say, Kellen.
Yes,
do you still have the box?
Does he? You said he brought most of his possessions, right? We were kind of packed.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that. I don't want anyone to say that like, oh, I made a cool thing and it's still up in the dorms. You have your possessions nearby enough that you can grab them.
He's like, yeah, it's close.
Keep it safe, Kellen. Keep it safe.
Bim.
Yes.
The tidekeeper, Hononiko, she was still in the building.
You see them like nod their head and it's like, okay. And in this moment, you have a choice. You can either perceive what Bim is reacting to or see their reaction. What do you want?
Is it happening like behind him?
Yeah, like I think where you are standing, you can see the ruins of the academy.
I'll let you decide which you think is more likely.
I think as they are turning to kind of follow your gaze towards the academy, you see that they react to the Vice Chancellor Crater is coming down those steps. With him is Drogon, who appears to be very injured. They are carting a stretcher that has the healer unmoving on it. And there are a few students limping along with that kind of group. You feel them stiffen, but you can't really gauge what was the reaction or what they were like specifically reacting to. Kellen.
Yes.
Go to the evacuation point. Stay with your party.
Is Hononiko with the group of students?
You do not currently see Hononiko now.
She's not evacuated.
I will handle it. Stay with your party, so I am not having to look for you.
Is Ben he's talking to?
Yeah.
He gets that the face of like, yeah, I'm gonna fight this, and then it just disappears. And he's like, okay, I'll find them.
Okay.
Is Pyria still with him?
I think Pyria is not too far away from you. She kind of left because Iana got brained hard with a chunk of falling stone. And so she's kind of like shouldering her to help support her as they head towards this cave.
Okay. He'll try to help with that then.
Okay, awesome. Otis, as you look up and Drogon is coming down here, he makes a beeline first to Elliot and wraps him up in a quick hug and then like pushes him towards the cave and then is heading directly towards you. He's limping badly. He's holding his arm like he's holding his ribs. He seems to be very injured. And as he gets to you, he's like, Otis, here. And he holds out. It looks roughly uprooted, but he's brought you back your plant. The tree that you brought back. He was in the Arboretum at the time of the explosion. And so he grabbed it and brought it to you. He's like, listen. Are you listening, Otis?
Otis nods.
Rivenwood Academy is not a place. Just because this building's going down, it doesn't mean you're alone. We're going to stick together. There's an evacuation plan. We all meet up afterwards. We'll sort up the class schedule after that. It'll happen. You're not being abandoned right now. You hear me?
Otis nods again and looks down at the tree and looks back at Drogon.
He pulls you into a very tight hug, one that you can tell is probably painful to him to do. As he does, he whispers in your ear and he says, you stay close to Micah. We haven't found her yet. And then also pushes you towards the cave.
Well, okay. Aaron, I have a question.
Yes.
As Otis is pulled in for the hug, can he cast Cure Wounds on Drogon?
You absolutely can.
Otis does so.
Okay. As he pushes you away, he also gives you like a little nod of thanks. Appreciate it. As people are moving, it is a force of nature that these professors are being as they are pushing students quickly away from where debris is still raining down. And they push you towards where this cave is. And as you enter, the Vice Chancellor is one of the first people in. You can see that the healer is now laying on the ground, again, not moving. There's various students in various forms of injury. You do not see Zima, Mardam, Rosani, Theophania, Saskia, or Max.
That's
or
a big
Martin.
list.
Yeah. I think I said
Rosani?
I
ask you to text me later.
Yeah. I'll give you a list of the people that you
Okay.
do not see. So Loom and the Vice Chancellor are the ones who are spearheading this. As they're pushing you forward, they get you into this cave, and you can see there are 3 permanent transportation circles that have been carved into stone here. And so they have prior arrangement. If there's something bad happening at the school, how do we get students out? And so there are 3 different safe houses basically they're going to be sending. And the Vice Chancellor turns and looks at you, Ardris. And he's like, okay, your party is all here, right?
I believe so. Kellen and the others arrived yet, or I know the time's working.
I think about this time, unless somebody is deliberately not going to the cave, you're all going to be there.
Got it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it appears so. I am aware that I am still technically a student, however, I'm much more trained. What can I do to assist you all?
Well, we're going to need your connections with the Theron Hall of Mages. That's where this transportation circle goes. We'll send you first. More students will be arriving after you. We'll go by parties. He kind of raises his voice so everyone can hear. Stick together. Various groups have various professors that will be teleporting with them. Your group is going to be going first on this teleportation one. You do see that the Dragon's Pride are in a different one, as well as the Black Card. They're all heading to different teleportation circles. And he's like, okay, step on the circle, please. We don't have a lot of time to get everyone out of here as soon as possible.
He does so.
This is a whole party gets on the boat kind of thing.
Yeah. I would. Oh, go ahead.
Just to clarify, am I actually with the group or am I somewhere else?
You are. You're with the group.
Mary?
Otis was not very far from you, and y'all were towards the cave. So as the press of students were moving, y'all were being moved with them.
Also, Miri would have made a beeline to find Micah as soon as she saw everything go down.
Oh, okay. I thought I was somewhere else. In that case, Micah is like looking for his mother. He's just like where his mother is. Where's mother? Where's mother?
Mr. Micah, I'm sure she'll be along shortly. My goal right now as Vice Chancellor is to keep you safe. We will all be rejoining on the other side. Please. What would your mother want? You to stick around and get hurt, or you to go with the party that she trusts you to be with?
He pauses for a second, and then he looks up at the group and says, because he's also thinking about the fact that she kind of doesn't really trust the group, but then he was just like, okay. I go.
Thank you. Everyone else on the teleportation circle?
Yes.
Excellent. Your party is one of the first people to go, so you see that as you get on, the Vice Chancellor is the one who is kind of powering the teleportation. So he is the one running it. You have like literally a second. I'll say an ability check if there's anything you want to check before you are teleported out.
I just would like to minor illusion, like whatever his like noble house symbol would be, since you know he's not prim and proper at the moment. I'll be able to do that.
Okay.
Otis would like to just scan the area as soon as he can.
Make on which side of the teleportation? Before teleportation or after? Because we're on before right now.
Before.
Okay, make a quick perception check.
On it.
Kellen just looks at Pyria and Ayana and says, "Find me."
I will.
And by the way, I'm using my Wild Instincts ability for the half-orc variant, so I could add the D4 to that perception check.
Nice.
All right, just letting you know so you're on game. You don't think I'm cheating.
I trust you, man.
Okay.
D&D is a game of trust.
Okay, so that I rolled a 19. Let me add the perception to that. That is plus 8. That is 27.
Very nice. What exactly are you looking for? Like, are you looking for vibes? Are you looking for people? Are you looking for structure?
He's
like,
doing a general vibe check. He's just trying to see, what everyone's condition is in general. Like trying to get an understanding of what's going on as much as he can.
People are scared, out of their minds. The most injured people seem to be the ones that came down from the academy. The precious few students who had gone up there for whatever reason. The healer who was in the very middle of these explosions. And Drogon, who was kind of cushioned by being in the Arboretum. But I will say, with a 27, as you were going into the cave, you look back, you can see that, like, spilling off of the back of this cliff where the school is, all of those biomes are kind of just growing outwards. And, like, it's the weirdest kind of, like, spatial, temporal weirdness, as you can see, just, like, all of these different climates, like, almost water falling out of the back of Rivenwood Academy. Micah, Shy, and Mary, anything you wanted to ability check?
Yeah, just to see if he could catch just a sight of his mother before he goes. Like, just as he could do a quick scan.
Okay. Roll perception.
All right. That worked. 24.
We out here.
As you are goaded onto the teleportation platform, you take a moment to kind of steel yourself. You look around. You don't see your mother.
Yeah, I think from there he kind of like holds on. He definitely put the manuscript back into the necklace that she gave him, but I think now he's definitely holding on to the necklace, kind of like as a safety.
Yeah.
Mary would have, as soon as they're about to teleport, she would have tried to grab Micah's hand. The other hand.
Aww.
He kind of looks up at you, and you can definitely tell there's a drastic, like one of the highest degrees of feelings shown on his face, just a clear sight of fear and concern on his face as he's like looking up at you and then looking up at the distance, but not really saying anything. But it's clearly obvious the stoic side is kind of pushed aside as there's actual feelings on his face.
Shy, anything you want to do?
Nope, I'm good.
All right. As you all step on there, the Vice Chancellor, Wilhelm, concentrates on the spell. And with that 27, Otis, I think at the last second, you look down at your feet and you went, I don't think that chip is supposed to be there in the circle. The line is broken. And you don't see this, but everyone else in the cave does as the teleportation circle goes off. But it shatters behind you as this the stone it was carved into is shattered. Ardris, I need a D100 roll from you, please.
Why are you putting this on me? Why?
You're
bad vibes, man.
You're a Theron Starboy, man.
That would be the D100 juju on me. 58.
58. All right. Mary.
Oh.
Can you roll me a D8, please?
Okay. I suppose. A 2.
A 2. Fun. Awesome. The sight of the teleport fades, and you all kind of blink away that bright light, and you look up, and Argus, you immediately know you are not in the Hall of Mages. You are not in anywhere. You are outside on a forested, mountainy, area. You look around. You see stars above you through the canopy. You hear the sound of animals around you. You have no idea where you are. And that is where we're going to end this episode today.
Why do you do these things? Why do you do these things? How am I supposed to go to sleep now? What is this?
That's what you get, John.
If I can't sleep through D&D, you can't either.
What is this?
Wow.
Oh my god.
Well, Erin displayed that she was really excited for this episode. Now we know why, because the gauntlet
Stripped
has
her
been
heart out.
Yep, pretty much. Our school is in shambles, but it's gonna be nuts. It's gonna be nuts. Oh, what a cliffhanger! Thank you again, Erin, for bringing in such a fantastic story. What were you about to say?
I have a final word for the audience.
What's that?
Join us next time on Rivenwood Academy for our next class, Life.
Mm-hmm.
Better get that hard knocks life going on right now.
Skills.
Survival on the streets.
This is the one time we would actually need a ranger, and we don't have.
Oh no.
You got Otis. Good grief. Y'all have no faith.
No, I believe in Otis.
I love it. So thank you all so much for coming by. We definitely appreciate it. Thank you again, of course, for the bits from Dr. Doom and everybody from coming by. And again, hopefully you could, if you like what you see here, definitely join us at our Discord, which the link will be in chat below. We would love to talk about what just happened and where we're going to go from next. I don't think anyone here knows for certain. Also, of course, join us for Lords of Faerun this upcoming Saturday. And I'm definitely excited to see what's going to happen next time for our episode 19. We're almost at the big 2-0 mark.
Wow.
Rivenwood Academy. Farewell for now.
Peace out, y'all.
Bye.